8.2, cell theory. So we're going to look at the smallest units of matter to the largest units of life. The smallest unit of matter is an atom. Atoms are the building blocks of matter. Molecules are made of two or more atoms bonded together. Molecules are the smallest unit of compounds. Sorry, I need to update my slide here. So for instance, we can have water, which is H and O. And so these are just bigger than atoms because there's multiple atoms bonded together. Organelles are the next largest unit of matter. Organelles are made of many molecules. Organelles are tiny structures inside a cell that does a specific job or function for that cell. So for instance, we can see a cell here. So the vacuole is considered an organelle, a small piece of the cell. The mitochondria is a organelle. So we're looking at just specific organelles, not the entire cell yet. A cell is the smallest unit of life. They contain organelles. Cells can perform all of the 7 functions of living things, which we discuss at the end of this presentation. So this is a plant cell. What is the name of the little green organelles you see inside? So these green things that we see that make plants green are called chloroplasts. Tissues are the next largest living thing. A tissue is a group of the same type of cells that have a specific function. For example, we have muscle cells that contract and relax, and there's even different types of muscle cells. So we can see smooth muscle tissue. So part of our digestive system would be these long cells here. We see cardiac tissue. So cardiac muscle tissue, it is found in our heart. And they look different. They're long and skinny still, like muscle tissues. But again, each one of these is a cell. So the tissue itself is made up of many cells. And then skeletal muscle tissue. So something like our biceps, our quads, our calves. This is the tissue that we would be looking at. And so these long skinny things are made of multiple cells, and that would be our tissues moving together. Organs are the next largest unit of life. An organ is a group of tissues in a living organism that has a specific form and function. So specific organs within our body, of course, we know and could label a bunch of them, I'm sure. We talk more about each of the organ systems a little bit later in this unit. Systems. An organ system is a group of organs that work together to perform a specific function or task. So, for instance, the nervous system, our brain and all of our nerve tissues. We also have our circulatory system. We have our respiratory system, our digestive system, our muscular system. We even have our skeletal system. So a bunch of different systems that work together to sustain an organism. An organism is an individual form of life. Unless it's a single-celled organism, it has one or more organ systems. So a single-celled organism could be something like a bacteria. It doesn't have a digestive system. It is simply a cell. However, anything larger than a one-cell system can be called an organism. The life functions that I mentioned before, the 7 life functions, can be carried out by cells and organ systems, so organisms. So this list applies to cells all the way up to different species. So all living things have to have a mode of transportation. So moving the organism, its parts, or its internal materials. So cells are able to move, but they're also able to move things around the cell, which is just as important. Same thing with our bodies. We are able to move, and things are able to move within our bodies. Nutrition. They're able to produce or obtain food. Growth and repair. They are able to build and repair body parts or cellular systems. Reproduction. They are able to make new cells or a new organism. Regulation. They are responding to changes in the surroundings. Metabolism. They are able to breathe, digest, and eliminate waste. And synthesis. They are able to direct cell activities to create needed substances. So we're able to synthesize different things within our bodies that we require. Specialization. Cells, tissues, organs are all designed to perform a unique function. Each structure is designed to keep the organism alive by performing a specific task. We can see here a stem cell is the starting block for a bunch of different cells in our body, and these are all designed to perform a unique function. So for instance, we have red blood cells and epithelial cells. Epithelial cells are like skin cells. They are not interchangeable. An epithelial cell cannot perform the same function as a red blood cell, and vice versa. So they are specialized for what they do within the organism. For example, an animal's digestive system contains all of the organs necessary to take food and change it into the form of the body they can utilize. This cannot be done by the respiratory system. Again, they are specialized. Cell theory says that all living organisms are composed of cells. They may be unicellular, so one-cell organisms, or multicellular. The cell is the basic unit of life, and cells arise from pre-existing cells. They don't just spontaneously arrive out of nothing. This is a link to a little article about 10 different things that cells do. For practice, there's a few questions on page 165 for you to take a look at.